Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here for another Kelly Brewer Show podcast.
Yeah.
So today, my very special guest is Jerry May.
Or like they do at the shows, like my adoring fans, Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. And I'm like, hey, what do I say
How
to
do I
that?
top that? Jerry plays guitar, and currently he's with the Crossroads Band. Um, I'm sure y'all know the Crossroads Band. We've had Brian in here, and Jerry is an enigma, right? I don't know a whole lot about Jerry, other than that he's one
Jerry
of
don't know a lot about Jerry, I guess, too.
he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I can tell you that. And one of the kindest people you can meet. Also, huge guitar effects nerd. Huge. I'll put some of that video of the effects pedal board there at the end, and for all of you aficionados. So Jerry's gonna attempt to explain what he would tell his 18-year-old self. What was your paradigm shift? I mean, how have you survived life up to now?
Yeah, we're kind of talking about that. I, I don't think I'd really tell my 18-year-old self too much different. I mean, just let things play out how they played. I mean, I'm happy with how I am, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, starting like when I started playing guitar in the winter of '86. Like Bon Jovi was coming out with the Slippery When Wet album, White Snake, their album that had Still the Night and
Oh
everything.
man, yeah.
That was good times. That was my inspiration for starting to play guitar. And I took lessons for about like 4 years from two different teachers, and then after that, I taught myself the rest. And I never really played in bands and just kind of like jam bands in high school and stuff like that. I was in one band for um, we only did like four songs at the Nederland Heritage Festival, and in my senior year, I was in our show choir and jazz band, and that I got to play a lot of shows with them and everything. But then after high school, I really didn't get into playing like in a lot of bands, like a lot of other local musicians, the great musicians in this area,
So
like
many. Oh my
Todd
gosh.
Howard, and,
Gosh.
yeah, all all the
So many.
and anyways, when I got out of high school, I got into like recording a lot of stuff at home. Had the Tascam 4 track eight, the recorder and everything. And then computers start coming out in the internet, and I started to do a lot of my recording in the computer realm and stuff like that. And I did that for about like the next 10 years, like recording a couple of original songs and cover songs and stuff like that. And then about like 2000, I kind of didn't really get into guitar as much anymore, and I was getting more into like my computers and stuff like that. And that went on for about like 10 years. I really didn't mess around with keyboards or guitars during that time.
So you're just sort of dabbling up to this point.
Yeah. And then 2010, I wanted to start playing in bands again. Well, to start playing in bands because I really didn't have that much experience with them. And I at the southeasttexas.com classifieds, I saw an ad for these guys looking for a band, and it ended up being a band called Illusion 5. And they were kind of like original hard rock, mainly a couple of cover songs and everything. But they had really good songs, and I liked them. And I played with them for a couple of years. And then I left them and kind of got back to computers again for about like 2 or 3 years. And then the guitar player wanted to get back together with the band, so I tried to get back together with them, and I was with them for a couple of months, but then it kind of fell apart again. But during that time, that's when I met Rick, because we were rehearsing at Ed Shafley's studio,
Rick Leach.
Rick Leach, and I met him there. And then a couple of months later, after the band broke up again, I got the call from Rick that Crossroads needed a guitar player.
He was playing drums at the time.
Mhm.
Yep.
He had only been with them a couple of months, but they had a big 6 hour long show in Houston,
Dang.
like in about a week and a half.
Oh man.
Yeah, and they were pretty desperate for a guitar player, and they got me there. I went in the garage and then ended up being at Tracy and Kitty Miller's house, which I'd met them about like 8 or 9 years before at jam sessions at another friend's house. So when I got there that night, I was like, "Oh man, that's Tracy. That's Kitty." And it made it feel more like coming home
Right. Right.
playing with them.
Yep.
But then I started playing with them, and well, that first night, but they were like, "Do you know this song?" And I was like, "No, I really don't. Do you know this one?" No, and I didn't really know
Uh
any of the songs. They were like, "Oh, we are fucked."
oh.
But I went home and like downloaded them from Ultimate Guitar, put them on my iPad and everything. And my way of playing, I have a kind of unique style of playing. I played like with a lot of inversions and stuff like that, and it was easy for me to just like work the chords and not if I'm not actually playing like the recording, I'm doing something close enough to it. And they had Wes Day that played guitar, and they brought him in for that show to help out, and we made it through that show. And then after that, they played with him for their shows for a couple more weeks, and then Wes's health started to
Yeah.
decline.
Right.
Yeah. And then they started bringing me in for all their shows, and then after that is like that's 5 years ago.
Man, the Crossroads band has outlived quite a
Mhm.
few members at this point.
Yep. Yeah. Tracy, love Tracy.
Poor Tracy.
Yeah.
You know, when Brian was here, we were talking about Brian Nash, and he has a little place right down the street, and he was bringing people in just to jam for practice, kind of a thing. And he pulled Brian in, and that became the Crossroads band. And then me and Steve Como met there at Brian's house, and that became Collider. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, so it's just kind of a we got to get. I'm trying to get Brian in here, Brian Nash, but but okay, so that's a little bit of your history. What about Jerry May, the man? Thing now, see, the rare person has come in here that they've got great parents, they were raised good, it's not been a bumpy road for them at all. They've just been on this path since they were kids. You know, a few, not many, and am I to understand that's kind of how your upbringing was, or
Yeah. Yeah, my dad was a state trooper. He was one for like 36 years. And he yeah, my mother and father, loving parents,
yeah, yeah,
good home and everything. I
okay,
was born in Beaumont, and I stayed in Beaumont until like the second grade, and then they were starting a weird busing system where it's like something with ping pong
I
balls
remember
and
that.
stuff
I
like that.
remember
Yeah.
that.
And my dad was like, my son
No,
ain't going to be a ping pong
no,
ball. And so we moved to Nederland, and I grew up in Nederland from third grade until like a couple of years after high school. And then moved back to Beaumont.
okay.
But yeah, just loving
You've not
family.
had any like major car crashes or brain surgery or
No,
you had a
no, no,
major
no.
drug addiction that you've been hiding from people.
Me, I don't
He
even
don't even
drink. So.
drink, doesn't do drugs. I mean, I'm trying to find some dirt on the guy. There's no dirt, It's just clean.
Yeah.
So, but that's rare, man. That's so rare. Most people, like Rick, was over here yesterday, and he kind of alluded to some things, but after I pressed stop,
Hmm.
he told me more about some of the stuff. I was like, "Goh."
Yeah.
Alcoholic dad, the mom was so, you're one of the rare breed, man, that's had, your parents
Yeah. And
have
then
watched
over the
out for you.
years, I've just worked little odd jobs like a veterinarian technician, like in the 90s, and then worked at Steinmart for a while as the gift shop manager. And I was talking earlier about I like to build desktop computers, and I had a job working for Dell, taking calls for their hardware
Really?
tech support,
Yeah.
and that that taught me how to build my own desktop computers. And about every 4 or 5 years, I'll build a new computer. And I just recently told you I started building a new one, and I'm just getting finished putting it together, and I'm wanting to put my recording software back on it and get back into recording
Okay.
because I really haven't did that in like 10 years or
Yeah.
so.
So you've got a little backlog of original music, or you got
Yeah.
some ideas?
Yeah, I have like a couple of really good songs. Like I have one that's called "I'll Stay Beside You." I wrote that when I was 20 years old, so it's about like 30 years old. And over the years, I've re-recorded it about like 5 or 6
Constantly
times.
changing.
Yeah, and it's constantly
Well,
evolving.
why isn't Crossroads playing this song?
Um, I keep saying to myself, like songs like that, and I have another song called "Whispers." It's about 25 years old, and they're really good songs. But I'm saying to myself, I want to refine it one more time and get it ready for the band. And
Well, they're going to
one
change it anyway.
yeah,
They're going to
yeah,
destroy it and rebuild it in their own
yeah,
image.
because I'm the same way. Like I know that song that you have called "Take You."
Yeah.
I think when I first heard that song, I was like, man, that's so cool. It's so sophisticated, but it's not really a song that you would be hearing on the radio. It's like reading a book. It doesn't really have the same part at the beginning that it does at the
Oh
middle
yeah,
and
yeah,
the end.
yeah. It changes.
It's like a plethora of different sounds that you're experimenting with and everything. But that song is so cool. I
Take you.
love that
I
song.
appreciate that.
Yeah, and that, like that, I want to aspire to do that with my songs. Like not to really like it'll have more of a basic format and everything, but like change up to where this verse sounds a little bit different than that verse.
What
And
see the thing is, like I'm listening to Kevin's America song,
Mhm.
and about every year it sounds a little different.
Mhm.
We've added, your solo's different. You got the little rolling drum, snare drum now, and
Yeah.
it's just so just trust those guys.
Mhm.
Just let it out and see if it becomes another anthem.
The solo on that though, the song is in B flat major, but the chorus very first chord of the chorus is A flat, which isn't in the B flat
Right,
scale
right.
and everything. When I'm doing a solo, when it gets to those A flats in the solo, I have to be sure that I'm on an A flat or something that's gonna. So I had to come up with an original solo, and over time, I would like, okay, this first part of it sounds good, and then in the middle, I'll do a little bit something different the next time, and eventually, I built a solo, and I pretty much keep it consistent
You're
the
talking about
whole time.
Kevin's song now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's America's song.
Oh yeah, that's right. So he's playing keyboard, so it's B flat, A flat. So
Yeah,
yeah.
A flat during the chorus, which changes it up, and I had to adjust my solo. And is the way I solo, I'm not. I don't know if you're like this. I'm not really thinking about the notes of the chords too much. I'm more of a pattern. I have different patterns all over the neck that I jump to, and this pattern will like bleed into this one and stuff like that. And it's more of an instinct thing, the way I'm thinking of the solos and what notes I'm gonna go to. And a solo like that where it has that A flat in there, I'm having to actually think about that and think, okay, I need to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
make sure that I put that in there and I'm on the right note or it's not gonna sound
Right.
good.
Well, can't you just do your detune thing and go to G or something?
Mm, um, no, because I would have to like press the button but no, it's just part of the solo. It's
Okay.
that one note
Oh, I see. It's just
is
part of section of
yeah.
it.
I have to be sure that that one note that isn't in the regular scale, to be sure that I'm
I got you.
compensating for it.
Well, it's working your brain a little bit too. So,
Yeah.
how old are you? You mind me
I'm
asking?
51. My birthday's on Valentine's
Just
Day.
a baby,
Yeah.
51.
Yeah, I'm uh, sometimes like we're saying we're the Crossroads an American band and I'm like what we might need to change the names like Jerry into Geriatrics.
Oh no!
I didn't.
How's that?
I love y'all
How's that
guys.
going
I
over?
didn't mean no.
Have y'all voted on that yet? Or
No, we joke about stuff like that all the time.
no, that's funny. Yeah, you're the baby, ain't you?
Yep.
You sure are. Well, no, I love watching you guys, and I always appreciate when y'all let me come up and sit in on
Oh
something,
yeah.
and that's always fun.
I mean, I, I don't. When you're doing your solos, well, like for songs, do you have your solos planned out a lot, or do you like to improv a lot?
It depends. Some songs I just do the same solo, but some songs I just kind of I just think sort of in the scale, like we do Beast of Burden, right? And that's E major, and so I play it different every single time. But I'm just like you say, inversions. I'll go up to a and come down, or I'll play it lower or something like that. Just experimenting with it. So it varies. It varies. Some songs very specifically is the same exact solo over and
Yeah.
over.
It's like when I'm doing Keep On Smiling, I've come up with a solo that I keep it really consistent, except for like in the middle. I changed up in the middle, but the beginning and the end of that song, I've come up with something really good that I like keeping, and I just keep consistent with that. And same thing with Purple Rain. Uh, Over time that solo changed a whole
Right.
lot, but like the last 2 or 3 years, I've had something I keep really close to.
Well,
Yeah.
man, your tone's always evolving. And when I saw y'all last week, man, you got that real thick, crunchy, creamy sounding sort of half rhythm, half treble pickup, and it just sounded really, really good,
Yeah,
really good.
yeah, I like the neck pickup. I live on the neck pickup. I
Yeah,
love that one. And for a lot of the rhythms, I use the middle position for the like funk songs, like Brick House or Play That Funky Music. I like the number two position between the middle and the bridge.
yep,
I don't really use the bridge a whole lot except for like hard rock
I
songs.
gotcha.
Yeah. But like single coil Stratocaster sounds,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never have really liked that too much.
Neither I can't get used to a Stratocaster. I've tried playing the
Mm.
Stratocaster. I have a Stratocaster, but I never pick it up. I got the PRS, and I can tell you that is the best guitar I've ever owned in my
Yeah, the
life.
PRS, they have a different system of tapping the coils where you don't really get a volume drop. It keeps the volume
Yeah.
consistent between the single
It just
coils. Yeah.
feels good.
Hmm.
It's light. It stays in tune, you know. It's just a really good overall, and it's not. You know, I was surprised. I always thought, well, the Strat's real tinky and kind of thin, but the Les Paul, you know, I got the Les Paul. It's real chunky, you know, but that's not true. The more I listen to the Les Paul, it's kind of high mid rangey, you know, but the PRS has just got sort of a low end warmth that I don't see in the Paul or the Strat. So
Yeah, my main Stratocaster that I've been using, it originally had the three single coils, but I no wait, it had the humbucker and the bridge, but I've changed it out with a new pick guard, and now I have it a humbucker in the bridge, middle is a single coil, and the humbucker in the neck. So I can get like the Les Paul kind of sound if I want to, but then I can pull up on the volume knob and tap the those two and get it to a single coil if I want to.
you're such a technician. The more I talk to you, the more I realize that you are just a technician. I mean, you're like a NASA scientist. You know, control. Do we have yes? You know, 10 is good, 9 is good, 8 is go. Okay, go. And here we go.
Yeah,
So
I'm not like smart like mathematics and stuff like that, but I know I have a good brain for like troubleshooting. Like if I have a problem with something that I'm working on, I can just I might not get it right the first time, I might not get it right the second time, but over time I'm going to find a solution to it. I just need to try different approaches to it, I guess you
it's a
could say.
science. It's
Yeah.
literally the science
Yeah.
of playing guitar. You know, so
And over the years, I've took like a couple of IQ tests, and they've consistently came out about like 136
what?
or something like that. Yeah, I haven't took one in like 10 years or so, so my my older brain has probably
Yeah,
dropped a lot.
yeah,
But
your old man
yeah,
brain. So I've never taken one. I'd be scared to take one. I don't want to know at this point.
yeah, I don't want to know what mine is now. Is it my fall from glory?
So you know, you may not want to answer. You're a Christian,
Kind no, more like a spiritual person, I
spiritual.
guess. Yeah, I don't really dabble too much into religion and politics. I just kind of like when the rest of the band or somebody else I know they're talking politics. I'm just like, even if they're not agreeing with me, I'm just like, okay, just let them talk
Yeah.
and just let them absorb it and just be there as their friend. You don't really have to like do let any of your input get into it if you don't want to. You can just
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, y'all are business. Y'all are basically, when
Yeah.
you're in a band, you're all in business
Yeah,
together.
and we don't ever really let like those red flag things like religion or politics when we're at shows. We don't really bring that into it.
No.
Everybody's just there to
Right.
dance, have fun, and
Have
have a good
fun.
time, and sell some alcohol for the venue so they keep
That's
having
pretty
us
much
back.
it. So
Yeah,
y'all keep it between the ditches and just go down the road
yeah,
to the crossroads. So
and the intersection.
and the
Yeah, and
intersections.
the band wives and girlfriends and stuff like that. They're known as the intersection.
The girls are.
Yeah,
That's the intersection.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think I was the one that coined that, if I remember right.
Really.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah. And even Kitty Miller, even though Tracy passed and he's no longer with the band, she's always
It's always there
part of the intersection.
selling.
Yeah,
And she's selling shirts and stuff like that.
yeah.
So, well, there's a song right there, intersections.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you
So
gotta get on that.
so tell me. All right. So I'm trying to pull some dirt out. I'm trying to pull knowledge out. I'm trying to get a nugget, a one-liner, if that's possible. What can we leave listeners with that will propel them through the day, if anything?
Oh, just
What would be your advice?
Be yourself. Be original.
Be
Just,
yourself.
do what you aspire to do. Don't let anyone like crush your dreams. Like when I was in high school, I kind of wanted to. For some reason, my brain was thinking. I was reading the guitar magazines, and they had ads for the guitar institutes and stuff in California, and I was like, oh man, I would love guitar. I want to be a studio musician. But then, like my senior year, you'd go into the room with the counselor and they talked about your career path and what you want to do. And I was like, I told them they were like, okay, well, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know how to tell you this. And yeah, so they really didn't help me along. But looking in hindsight, I don't think that really would have been the right place for me to go and everything. I think I might have did better if I like went to Lamar and like took music theory courses and stuff like that. So that might have been a different path, but I'm happy with how it turned out. I
Yeah.
mean, I've taught myself. Well, the guitar teachers I said I had, they hammered in the music theory and the basics and stuff, and then over the years I've learned more. And we were talking about like chord inversions and stuff like that. I really didn't know how to do that until like right before I joined the Crossroads band. And my style, like I'll play a bar chord like that, but if you like turn it upside down and move it up 2 frets, it's the same chord.
Right.
Yeah, and my whole style changed when I discovered those inversions. I think they call it the cage system now. Yeah, but I kind of just taught myself that, and it's just something that over time I might not have learned that right out of high school, but you'll learn it every once in a while. You can
Right.
teach a dog old tricks, and it just totally turned the way I play guitar and approach it and do my solos. It changed everything
Yeah.
with that.
You evolved.
Yeah,
So
evolved.
keep
Got better.
pushing, keep trying. Don't let them steal your dreams.
Yeah.
Right. Stay on the path until you can't, and then move on. So, all right.
Yeah, but still like keep an open ear to people and take constructive criticism and everything, and then say, well, that might be a better way to approach it. Just don't be so hard headed.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's another old nugget.
I like that. Knock on plastic. All right. Well, look, that's good.
All right.
I think we covered the basis. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jerry May. Y'all be sure and check out Crossroads every chance you get.
Yeah. If you're doing looking for the band for the first time, you can get on Facebook and just do a search for Crossroads Band TX. And when you enter that in, it'll bring up a logo. It says CRB, and then that'll be us. And right at the top of the page, there's a pinned post, and it usually has our schedule that we're playing
And you guys
for the
play
year.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Y'all play all the time.
Usually full band shows on Friday and Saturday. We go to the beach about like once a month or so and do shows like at Gulf Range and Jose's and stuff like that. But most of the shows are local around in this area. We play at restaurants and bars, so there'll be shows where you can bring the kids and everything, like
Yeah.
Pine Tree Lodge,
Yep.
if you want to.
Hardest
Yeah.
working band in show business.
Yeah, can't wait to see y'all out there.
Thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Jerry.
You're,
Appreciate you.
you're like one of my heroes.
No, you're
Yeah.
my hero now. You have surpassed me on the amount of gigs and work that y'all have put in. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, peace out. Love y'all.
Thank you, everybody.
That's good.
Loop switchers where I have like 5 or 6 different like distortions and stuff, each in an individual loop that I can turn on and off with MIDI. And there's one overdrive pedal that's a MRX Prince of Tone, I think. And it's actually in a loop, and it's always on all the time, but I turn it on and off with that. And there's like buku power supplies and stuff like that, and MIDI.
Now, this is the part nobody sees. So,
Yeah, everybody looks at my board and they're like, Jerry, that's too complicated. But I'm like, no, it's not complicated. It's complex. I know what everything does because I built it.